Have you ever noticed that some people reach their 90s or even past 100 while staying active, independent, and mentally sharp? They aren't chasing every new superfood or buying expensive supplements. Instead, many of them follow simple eating habits that have stood the test of time. Now, here's something that surprised even many nutrition researchers. One ordinary food found in nearly every grocery store in America has been linked in multiple studies to steadier blood sugar, longer-lasting fullness, and better metabolic health. Yet millions of people either avoid it or misunderstand it completely. If you're over 50, if your doctor has ever mentioned prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, or if you've watched your fasting blood sugar slowly creep upward over the years, today's video could change the way you look at your next meal. I'm Dr. Ilwas. For more than 30 decades, I've studied nutrition, metabolism, and chronic disease prevention. My goal isn't to sell miracle cures or promise overnight results. My mission is to help you understand what modern science actually tells us and how small daily choices can make a meaningful difference over time. Today, I'm going to share the one food I would choose if I wanted to support healthy blood sugar every single day. But before I tell you what it is, you need to understand why blood sugar becomes harder to control as we get older. Most people think blood sugar problems begin because they eat too much sugar. While sugar certainly plays a role, the real story is much more complicated. Imagine your bloodstream as a highway. Every time you eat carbohydrates, they are broken down into glucose, which enters that highway. Glucose is your body's main source of energy. On its own, glucose isn't the enemy. In fact, every cell in your body depends on it. The problem begins when glucose can't leave your highway efficiently. That's where insulin comes in. Insulin is a hormone made by your pancreas. Think of it as a traffic officer directing glucose into your muscles, liver, and other cells where it can be used as fuel. When you're young and your cells respond well to insulin, traffic flows smoothly. But after years of inactivity, poor sleep, excess body fat, chronic stress, or simply aging, your cells become less responsive. Doctors call this insulin resistance. Instead of moving easily into your cells, glucose starts building up in your bloodstream. At first, your pancreas works harder, producing more and more insulin to keep things under control. For a while, it succeeds. Then, one day, your blood test shows fasting blood sugar that's a little higher than last year. A year later, it's higher again. Eventually, your doctor says something many Americans hear every day. You're in the prediabetes range. For some people, the next step is type 2 diabetes. The encouraging news is that this process often develops slowly over many years. That means healthy habits can also make a real difference over time. While no single food can cure diabetes, certain foods may help support better blood sugar control when they're part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And that brings us to the food we're talking about today. Believe it or not, it's beans. Not an expensive supplement, not a trendy powder, not an exotic fruit shipped halfway around the world. Simple beans. Black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, navy beans. Lentils and chickpeas belong to this family as well. Researchers have studied legumes for decades, and the results continue to be impressive. One reason is their unique combination of nutrients. Unlike many carbohydrate-rich foods, beans contain large amounts of dietary fiber, plant protein, vitamins, minerals, and slow-digesting starches. This combination changes how your body handles a meal. Think about eating a bowl of sugary cereal. Within minutes, much of that carbohydrate is rapidly digested. Glucose rushes into your bloodstream, causing a sharp spike in blood sugar. Now compare that with a bowl of seasoned black beans. Because beans are packed with soluble fiber and resistant starch, digestion slows considerably. Instead of flooding your bloodstream, glucose enters gradually. It's like replacing a fire hose with a slow garden sprinkler. That slower release gives insulin more time to do its job. Several clinical studies have found that meals rich in legumes often produce smaller blood sugar rises compared with refined carbohydrates, such as white bread or white rice. Some research has also shown improvements in long-term blood sugar markers, including HbA1c, when legumes regularly replace refined starches as part of a healthy diet. Another reason beans are so effective is something many people never think about: your gut. Inside your digestive system live trillions of bacteria that help influence everything from digestion to immunity and even metabolism. When beneficial gut bacteria digest the fiber found in beans, they produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. Don't let the name intimidate you. Think of them as helpful messengers. These compounds may improve gut health, reduce inflammation, and even help the body respond better to insulin. Scientists continue to study exactly how these mechanisms work, but the evidence has become increasingly encouraging over the past decade. There's another advantage many people appreciate. Beans help you stay full. Have you ever noticed how quickly hunger returns after eating pastries or sweet breakfast cereals? That's because rapidly digested foods often cause blood sugar to rise and then fall just as quickly. Beans behave differently. Their fiber and protein slow digestion, helping you feel satisfied longer. For someone trying to manage weight, reduce snacking, or control blood sugar, that can be a significant benefit. One of my patients, a retired school principal in his early 70s, told me he used to reach for cookies every afternoon around 3 o'clock. After replacing his lunchtime chips with a cup of bean salad several days a week, he noticed something unexpected. His afternoon cravings became much less intense. He wasn't forcing himself to avoid snacks, he simply wasn't as hungry. That's an important difference. And here's what surprised him even more. His next blood test showed that his average blood sugar had improved alongside several other healthy lifestyle changes he had been making. Could beans alone explain that improvement? No. Healthy outcomes almost always result from multiple habits working together. But beans became one valuable piece of the puzzle. Unfortunately, that's only part of the story. Many people unknowingly cancel out many of these benefits by the way they prepare or serve beans. Now let's talk about the mistake that quietly turns one of the healthiest foods into something far less helpful. It isn't the beans themselves, it's what many of us add to them. Take baked beans, for example. They may look healthy because they're made from beans, but many canned varieties contain surprising amounts of added sugar, molasses, or syrup. Some also contain high levels of sodium. The same goes for restaurant-style refried beans. They're often prepared with large amounts of saturated fat or lard, which can increase calories without adding the same metabolic benefits. The healthiest choice is usually the simplest: plain black beans, kidney beans, navy beans, pinto beans, or chickpeas and lentils prepared with herbs, vegetables, olive oil, garlic, onions, or fresh spices instead of sugary sauces. If you're buying canned beans, take a few extra seconds to read the nutrition label. Choose products labeled "no salt added" or "low sodium" whenever possible, and rinse the beans under running water for about 30 seconds. Research suggests this simple step can remove a significant amount of excess sodium. Another question I hear all the time is, "Dr. Ilwas, how much should I actually eat?" The answer is simpler than most people expect. For many adults, about half a cup to 1 cup of cooked beans several times each week fits well into a healthy eating pattern. You don't need to eat them 3 times a day. You don't have to replace every carbohydrate. The goal is balance. Imagine swapping white rice for black beans with grilled chicken, or adding chickpeas to a salad instead of extra croutons. or enjoying a bowl of homemade lentil soup on a cool afternoon instead of processed instant noodles. Small substitutions often become sustainable habits, and sustainable habits are what improve health over months and years. Now, I also want to address something important because responsible health advice means talking about who should be careful. Beans are rich in fiber. If you rarely eat fiber now, suddenly eating large amounts may cause gas, bloating, or stomach discomfort. That's perfectly normal. Your digestive system and your gut bacteria need time to adjust. Start with small portions. Drink plenty of water. Increase gradually over several weeks. Most people find these symptoms improve as their body adapts. People with advanced kidney disease should also speak with their healthcare provider before making major dietary changes because some legumes are naturally high in potassium and phosphorus. And if you're taking medication for diabetes, especially insulin or medicines that lower blood sugar, remember this: beans may help support healthier glucose levels as part of your overall diet, but they can also contribute to lower blood sugar when combined with medication. That's why it's important to monitor your readings and work with your healthcare provider rather than adjusting medications on your own. Now here's something many viewers don't expect. The food itself is only half of the equation. How you eat matters almost as much as what you eat. Think about two different dinners. In the first, someone rushes home after work, eats quickly while scrolling through their phone, barely chews their food, and finishes in less than 10 minutes. In the second, someone sits down with family, eats slowly, enjoys conversation, and gives their body time to recognize fullness. The meal might be almost identical, but the body's response can be very different. Eating slowly allows hormones that signal fullness to catch up with your brain. It may reduce overeating and help avoid large blood sugar swings after meals. Even a short walk after eating can make a difference. Research has shown that light physical activity, sometimes as little as 10 to 15 minutes after a meal, may help muscles use glucose more effectively. Think of your muscles as storage rooms. The more they move, the more glucose they can pull out of your bloodstream to use as energy. That's one reason doctors often encourage regular walking for people with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. No expensive gym membership, no complicated equipment, just consistent movement. When you combine balanced meals, fiber-rich foods like beans, regular activity, good sleep, and stress management, you're giving your body multiple tools to support healthy blood sugar. No single food performs miracles. Real health is built from habits repeated hundreds of times over many years. And that's exactly what I've seen throughout my career. The people who enjoy the greatest success usually aren't searching for shortcuts. They're consistent. They make one better decision today, then another tomorrow, then another next week. Eventually, those choices become their normal lifestyle. Before we finish, I'd like you to think about your own dinner table. What's one simple change you could make this week? Could you replace one serving of white rice with black beans? Could you add lentils to your soup? Could you swap a processed side dish for a homemade bean salad? Small changes often lead to the biggest long-term results because they're the ones people actually stick with. If today's video helped you better understand how nutrition affects blood sugar, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me your age and where you're watching from in the comments below, and let me know which bean you enjoy the most or which one you're planning to try first. Your experiences may encourage someone else who is just beginning their journey towards better health. If you found this information valuable, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with someone you care about. Remember, managing blood sugar isn't about perfection. It's about making informed choices one meal at a time. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. I'm Dr. Ilwas, and I'll see you in the next video.